Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. Today is Friday, January 5th, 2024, and I'm back with video number 35. Thanks so much for stopping by to see me. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate your loyalty and I love all your comments. And if you're brand new to my channel, I hope you see something you like and that you will want to subscribe and that you'll hit that bell so that you'll be notified every time I put a video up. I love getting to know people, even if it's only virtually. It's been a great adventure having this Flosstube channel. So those of you who are familiar with my videos have probably noticed that I am not in the Florida home right now. I'm in my Kentucky home. Yeah, we had a situation come up the day after Christmas. We got a phone call. We needed to get up to Michigan. We had an imminent death in our family. So we whipped together all the boxes. I had packed all my sewing stuff. We got that in the van and everything we could take. We came up here, traveled. Thankfully, the roads were only a little wet in some places, but the traffic was horrendous. Anyway, it took forever. We got here, I dumped all my stuff in my sewing room. I mean, literally, I dumped it in here. It left quite a mess, and so we got all of our winter gear and off we went to Michigan. Took care of, all the things that you have to take care of at a time like that, arrangements and cleaning out the house and all that stuff. So we got back here yesterday, and I decided, since this is my regular Flosstube day, I'm going to make a surface straightening of my room so I can do a Flosstube and deal with all the big mess later. But I want to do a New Year Flosstube while it's still timely. I don't want to delay it any because it's just, people are over it, after so much time. So I'm going to be showing my 2023 finishes. I'm going to be showing my WIPs that I'm carrying from 2023 into 2024. I have a couple of new starts, and I have a quilt on the wall that we switched out, so I have a quilt I can show you and give you some close-ups and talk about that if you're interested in that. So I have a reminder before I get going. I want to remind you about stitchysasanach.etsy.com. She offers my viewers a 20% discount on items on her website. She makes very nice project bags, nice quality vinyl, really nice bags, and you'll get a 20% discount if you use the code RecoveringStitcher23, and I will have that in the notes below. Okay, so that's my reminder before we get started. And now just a little reference back. If you remember, I'm not sure if it was the very last video or the one before, when I showed the wall hanging behind me. I was in Florida and I showed that wall hanging that I normally have hanging by my back door. I knew I had the book, and here it is. By the Front Door is the name of the book. The company is Joined at the Hip. Now this, I bought this at a quilt store that's no longer in business, to my knowledge, in Manistee, Michigan, the Quilted Heart. I believe that's no longer in business, and I thought I looked up the year, and if I did, I can't even remember it. Copyright 1998. But all of the patterns for the switch out panels are in this book. I don't know if it's available. You might contact those people directly. You can screenshot that. So anyway, I knew I had it. I knew I could put my hands on it. So I wanted to show that in case some of you are interested in that. All right. Finished objects. I have two finished objects. Now wait, where did I put? I've rearranged this so many times. Okay. Two finishes on Prairie Schoolers. Remember, I was going to power through and get all four done. Well, stitching came to a screeching halt at one point, so I got two of them completed. This one, and I tried to mark them because I was trying to figure out with all my patterns, which ones did I do? This one was 1998, Santa with the Ark. Although I'd like to know what the poor bunnies and giraffe did to have them deserve to be hung, but anyway, there they are. And then, whoops, kind of the world clock kind of Santa. That one is, sorry, 2013. Can you see it? I can't see what you're seeing. So I got 2 of those done. So I have 2 more to do. I have, well, I think I'm talking about the start in a minute, so I'll not do that right now. So those are my 2 fully finished. Then the actual stitching I did have a new start on 1997. Let me find the picture for you. Like I said, I've rearranged this so many times. Okay. Here it is. Can you tell what it is? I'm sorry. I think I must have moved my project bag to the other room, so I'm not going to get up and get it. So anyway, that's the start. That's of number 3 of the 4 I had to do. Last video I said I had 4 more to do. That's number 3 of the 4. I had it right here. Okay. Gone with the wind. I don't know where it went. Okay, so that's it on that. Now, I also had a New Year's Day start. I'm sorry. Here it is. Okay, Ann Borrett, Hands Across the Sea. This gorgeous, gorgeous sampler has quite a few specialty stitches in it, and it is reversible. When stitched correctly, it is reversible. And Nicola Parkman says that you can change it to stitching 2/2. You can change it to not worrying about it being reversible and just do some of the specialty stitches. Another interesting thing about this that I didn't realize before I got into it is that it is stitched over 3 threads. So normally on linen we're stitching over 2 threads or 1 thread, but this is over 3. So when you think of your box that you're doing, say, an X in, it's across 3 threads up and 3 threads down, not 2 by 2. So I have a little start. Okay, the top row, let me show the picture again. Okay, so I stitched the top row, and then I skipped all this, in order to practice the Montenegrin straight and not turning corners and turning corners. I jumped down to this and I started this with Montenegrin, but this one is called, it is called reversible cross stitch because, now I do have some thread markers marking my count because, you know, 3 threads can get me all confused. So if you look at the top, top row, it looks pretty much like regular cross stitch, but on the back, it's 4-sided. And I did it correctly because the first one appears open, and that's the way it is. So it's, you know, if you do the stitches in the correct order, the back ends up being 4-sided. So that's that one. The next row down is Montenegrin, which, as I said, I skipped this space here so I could practice Montenegrin going straight and get it in my brain before I practice getting to a corner, merging it together, and then going diagonal, and then straight, and then diagonal, and oh, yoy. So this is going to take a lot of brain work. Montenegrin is pretty interesting. I think I've kind of got it in my head now. But I may have bitten off more than I can chew. I think I really do need someone who knows what they're doing to help me with this. Some of them that sound pretty straightforward, like double running stitch, where you do a running stitch and then you turn around and come back and fill in the spaces that you've skipped going that direction. But when I look at the pattern where I'm supposed to do that, I can't figure out how am I going to start. And like in the first row, if the double cross stitch, if I did a pin stitch, it showed on the back in the 4-sided stitch, so I couldn't do a pin stitch. You can't do a waist knot because that's going to show on the back. So I left a tail, and then when I did some of the X's, I did tuck it under the X's at the beginning. I can kind of see, but not really. So I hope that's the way I'm supposed to do it. If not, I am perfectly willing to take it out and do it the right way. I am stitching this on 40 count Muddy Duck from Tabby Cat. I think it was Barb at the attic who picked that out for me because they didn't have what the pattern called for, and this is a good substitute. It's beautiful fabric. I love it. And I'm stitching with Soie d'Alger, all the called for colors in Soie d'Alger. I like the Soie d'Alger. And I'm discovering, let me get this folded right, sorry. I'm discovering on the Forget-Me-Not box that I'm doing, I really don't like goblins. It's fussier to stitch with. This Soie d'Alger, you just stitch like you would stitch anytime. But the goblins, you have to give an extra little tug so it'll seat itself and not just kind of puff back up and like come undone. I don't know. Anyway, so in the future, I won't choose that kind. If it calls for it, I think I'll switch out to something else. Okay, so that is Anne Borrett, or Borrett. That was my New Year's Day start. Now we're going to put this so I don't lose this. Okay. Okay, so that was it. Oh, another thing I stitched on the other day was Red Deer Sampler. Red Deer Sampler. Oh, it's in my... Okay. I just needed some comfort stitching, so I went back to Red Deer. My brain was stressed with Montenegrin stitch. So I had, oops, well, let me get a board. Right there where I can reach it. Okay. I had started the flower, and so I came in and started the leaves around this flower, and then it's going to come down. I think there's a vase at the bottom. Yeah. So Red Deer Sampler. This was my birthday start last year, and I hope to have it done before my birthday this year in February. We'll see how things go. So I love that one. That's by GigiR, and you're going to see that in my WIP parade. Anyway, a lot of these you're just going to see repeats of because that's the way it is. Whoops. Very discombobulated, sorry. Okay. So that was my stitching in the last 2 weeks, and I did have a little bit of haul. You remember that I said when we were in Florida that my book of days had been put in our mailbox. It was supposed to have been forwarded. It wasn't. Well, I got it because we came back and got that abandoned mail from our neighbor. And so, I got my book of days. Now I still want to get it, bound like I did with last year's. I found that to be so handy. And I had extra pages put in last year at the back where I had a page for my finishes, I had a page for my WIPs that I started the year with so I could keep track. Did I get them done, not done, and I could check them off. And then I had several other pages, and I did a 2-page spread for StitchCon and put in pictures of people I met at StitchCon. And I'd like to do that with this too. I just have not had the opportunity yet. So I've started my book of days. Not a lot of stickers. I've had a lot of days with no stitching, so I've got sad faces, and December ended with a lot of sad faces, no day stitching. Driving, certainly can't, I can't stitch in the car. I can't see very well. And, we're just busy. So not a lot of stitching got done, but I have my book of days. That was one thing in haul. And then the other thing that was in that same order was my fabric for the Smith Sampler, Color and Cotton. And you remember I copied this choice directly from Sarah at Sarah's Stitchy Spot. She's stitching hers on 36 count, and I chose 40 count, but it is Cottage Stone 40 count. It's a very pretty color. And that's going to be for Smith Sampler. I hope to have that be my birthday start this year. But if I don't get Red Deer Sampler done, I'm going to finish Red Deer Sampler before I start another birthday start. And it just won't be birthday start, it'll be a start. So I have that, and I have the silks I got from Vicki Clayton Silks. And I showed you this box before. I got it from Amazon. It's for extra large bobbins, and it works great. Now these Vicki Clayton Silk bobbins are really fat this way. Not only are they fat in circumference of the circle, but this way. And this divider is foam, so it does move a little bit, and I could get them all in there. So that's, I hope to be new start in February. Sorry, let me get this put away. And if you're new here, as you'll notice, I don't edit. I don't know how, so whatever happens, happens, and I just go with it. Okay, so that was my haul. Now, let's do the 2023 finish parade. I finished, I have it, oops, no, it's in the back of the 2023 book. Alrighty, why don't I look there? I told you, I'm suddenly so discombobulated, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, finishes, I ended up with a total of 25 finishes in 2023. So here are the finishes for 2023. First one is, okay, the snowball. The snowball, and I didn't pull all the patterns, sorry. I've shown these before. So the snowball is a booklet by Brenda Gervais, and it has patterns for 7 pillows. Oops, how about I fold it right side up? 7 little pillows. And got all 7 of them done and finished. Fully finished. Just darling little bowl fillers or shelf sitters or something. Tuck it in someplace. They're so cute. And I have these little buttons that I ordered from Jabco, I think. Just another button company. And I know there are enough in that package to do more of these. So, Brenda Gervais, snowball, 7 little pillows. And I'm going to tuck these back in this bag so I can put them on the shelf for next year. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. That's the snowball. Okay, the next finish I had this year was Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. This is by Stacy Nash. And as with all Stacy Nash, that border is no joke. Very full border. This was a lot of fun to do. I stitched this on 36 count fabric. I'm not going to try to look it up now. And I stitched 2 threads on the 2 threads over 2 on the 36 count fabric, and it really ate up thread. I very, very nearly ran out of Piney Woods, the green here, and as I came all the way around here, and I did like a couple of these and discovered I had counted off the wrong stitch, so hello, backwards, it was this way. But anyway, the lady's feet wouldn't fit when I got to do the lady's feet, so okay, so I had to take those 2 out. And as I continued to cross, I was getting short on thread, and I ended up with 1 strand left. I did finish, but I had 1 strand left. I ran out of the thread for the house, and I had purchased the thread a year prior, so there was no getting the same dye lot. So I can see a little difference because I know my stitch path, and I can see it, but I don't think it's noticeable to anyone else. So there it is. Christmas at Hollyberry Farm, Stacy Nash. I had this framed at Hobby Lobby. You know what I said? I'm not going to look up I have it right on the back. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, it's 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus. That's the fabric. Okay, the next finish was the Rose and the Giant Pear. This is from Hands Across the Sea. I delayed a long time in getting this framed because I wanted it, I like my things framed tightly, like a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch, I want it to be tight. And anyway, I could not find a place where I could get a short enough cut to fit this. It was Hobby Lobby, my normal place I go, wouldn't cut. I think they only cut 5 1/2 is their shortest they will cut any side. Michael's also wouldn't cut that small. I tried online frame places, and again, they didn't go small enough for this side. So I went back to Hobby Lobby. I totally frustrated. I didn't know what else to do. So I asked my favorite framer, do you have a suggestion? What can I do? She said, well, if we put a mat here, then of course I can cut it bigger. And we found a mat that I think really, really enhances this and brings it out. So I'm very happy with the framing and the finishing of it. I didn't know that I would be, but I really am. I really love it. So this is the Rose and the Giant Pear from Hands Across the Sea. Okay, the next finish was Next Door. And this is a gift that's still going to be gifted. I can't remember who, it just went on my head. I don't know whose pattern this is. But I did some changes with color. I changed to DMC, and that made something I didn't like. There was a color in DMC that was quite orange from a normal conversion chart from, I don't know if it was Weeks or Colored Cotton, or I don't know what it was. So I did a little change in the colors. And I made it into a flat fold. I used Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial on that. I made my own cording, used Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial on that, and it's a flat fold. So that is Next Door. My next finish in 2023 was Halloween Quaker from Lila's Studio. I stitched this on 40 count Tornado from Fox and Rabbit. I used, I used many DMCs, but I did use some classic colorworks. I used Blackbird, Frog Legs, Rainy Day, and Black Coffee, and all the rest I changed to DMC. And I think the way I made that decision was anything that was big enough where the variegation would really show, I changed to the, I kept it the over-dyed floss. Otherwise, DMC makes me happy too, So that is Halloween Quaker, Lila Studio. The next finish, Counting is Hard. This was for the Smalls Exchange at StitchCon, the stitching retreat I went to. And I have it yet because I want to do it for myself. This is from Luminous Fiber Arts, of course, Misty. I have my fabric and threads, and I'm ready just when I have a chance to get started. Counting is Hard. Okay, my next finish was Baby It's Cold Outside, which is framed. Okay. I stitched this as Leanne's Legacy. Leanne's Legacy? Yeah, Leanne's Legacy. One of our wonderful floss tubers who passed away from breast cancer, and this was done widely on Flosstube in honor of Leanne. I did not put a cardinal in it. I did put the apostrophe in its, even though it's not in the pattern. I think I used all DMC. No, I used some Gentle Art, and the rest were DMC. I used a couple Gentle Art. So that is Baby It's Cold Outside. My next finish was Hummingbird Sampler. This is a pattern from Heart and Hand, and I copied it exactly the way she did it. I got it as close as I could to the way she finished it. I'm really happy with my finish. I found fabrics that really went with that floss, and I copied her finish of the pillow, long and thin. It stayed really nice. I'm happy with the corners. It's the best job I've done on corners on any pillow. And I do see, when I pulled it out today out of the bowl, I can see that from sitting in the bowl, it got a little crunched at the corners, but still it's better than most of mine. So I'm happy with that. That's Hummingbird Sampler, Heart and Hand. Ruffled Feathers. That was from Lindy Stitches. This was an online class I did. It was a finishing class to make this Needlebook. It was with Stephanie Webb and Lady Dot Creates. And we made this pretty little Needlebook. Oops. fully finished it. Very happy with that. Ruffled feathers. My next finish was Eliza's French Birds. This is a JBW Designs pattern. Eliza's French Birds. I love the colors of this, and Annie the Proper Stitcher finished hers in this same frame. I got it from Amazon, as she did. And normally I don't put glass on my stitching because I like to see the texture of the, but it's, I don't think it's really a glass, I think it's a plastic, I don't know, acrylic or something, but it is glued in there. So you can't just take it, I mean, I wasn't gonna try to break it out and ruin the frame. So anyway, it does have a glass finish on it. Eliza's French Birds, I love that. I love the way this frame really sets it off too. Okay. Oh, if you could see the piles of stuff I have here. Okay, Velvet Parsnip Needlebook. This is a Stacy Nash, and I had loved making the ruffled feathers, and so I got this one from Stacy Nash. This is supposed to be a parsnip. Of course, it has the lines on it to indicate a parsnip. And she had done some distressing on hers with scissors and said, but be careful because you can put a hole in. So I didn't distress mine at all. And here's the little rabbit on the inside. And this is where the needles go. And it's really puffy so you can get needles in there. Cute. I love that one. Stacy Nash. Okay, I'll button it later. Okay. Okay, Prairie Schooler Santa 2008. Is that this one? Again, I had it. Is it here? Yes, it's here, sorry. It's on the same fabric that I have some other ones that I finished this year. This is the 2008, right there. The one with the sled. I marked, trying to figure out which was which, I used my friction pen and marked some of the years on the bottom so I could keep straight because it was confusing me when I was trying to set up for this. As you can tell, I was very confused setting up for this. So that was Prairie Schooler 2008. And the next finish is, I'm the proudest of any of my finishes of anything. This is Jane Hopkins, Hands Across the Sea. This was my New Year's Day start in 2023, and I finished her in August. It was a joy seeing it come together, and I think a comment I had made in one of my Flosstubes as I was working on it, that completing this bowl of flowers really made me think I understand how people who do a full coverage piece feel about it, because you're doing the little change color, change color, change color, and you don't quite know what it is until you are back from it and you go, oh wow, look at that picture. I couldn't even tell what it was. Love it. Jane Hopkins, Hands Across the Sea. Okay, the next finish I had, I did this for Stitch Camp. Sherry Colorado Cross Stitcher hosts a Stitch Camp. This was summer, yeah. And I did this on the canvas bag. This pattern is from Shepherd's Bush. It was fun. And I turned it like this and I reached in through the zipper. So I had my pattern upside down and I just stitched it upside down so that I wasn't trying to get my hand in there and have it twisted around. Anyway, it worked really well. It was fast. I loved it. I'll do some more of those. That was Stitch. Oh, now she goes over here. Okay. The next finish I had was Jane Parson. I have her in my project roll because she is finished. She has been pressed, and I do not want to press her again, and she will go to the framer. Okay, so there she is. Jane Parson. I stitched this using flower thread. Ginny Thompson's flower thread. It was a great experience. I loved it. And then one of the patterns that I just bought recently, I wanted to get flower thread, but it was sold out. So I was disappointed at that. But this is Jane Parson. It's just a beautiful little sampler. Beautiful. And this cartouche and the writing in here were stitched 1/1. Jane Parson. That is available from Thorn. Wishing Thorn. The Wishing Thorn. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, that was Jane Parson. Okay, then my next finishes were from Jingle Ball. So we're into December now. Whoops. I have my 3 ornaments. I don't think I did a very good job on the bells. They kind of want to flop over. I have the 3. These patterns are from Luminous Fiber Arts, Missy Purcell. She taught the class in how to finish ornaments with a smooth curve. She taught how to do this with baker's twine, two wraps of baker's twine, and the, of course, adding the jingle bells and the felt leaves. Okay, that was Wintergreen Christmas. My next finish was Midnight Ride. Sorry, I get bored. Midnight Ride, this is a Blackbird Designs. I've loved this for a long time. I'm glad I got to do it and get it done finally, but now I would love to be able to finish it on the shaker box like it is on the book, but I don't know. I don't think I can swing that, so I'll come up with some kind of round finish. I don't want it to be square because I love that it's round, so Midnight Ride, Blackbird Designs. My next finish was, am I right? Yes, Candy Cane Biscornu. This was also a class I took with the Jingle Ball. This class was with Janine McGowan of the Blue Flower. And when I showed it to you before, I didn't have it completed with the button because I had not packed my dowel needle. So when we got, this morning, I got the dowel needle out, I knew which Needlebook it was in, and I finished it. Now, I was going to do a little button that looked like a mint, but I ordered it online. I assumed it was a button, but the holes in the button are off to the side. It's sort of intended to be a decorative button, not a buttonhole button, so the holes aren't in the middle. So I had a snowflake button, and I had a little round candy stripe button. I bought a whole package of buttons at Hobby Lobby. Some look like gingham check, some have flowers, and some have these stripes on them. So I thought that was a good one to go on the bottom. So Candy Cane Biscornu. I'm so thrilled I learned how to make a biscornu, and you know, when you attended the Jingle Ball and purchased a class, you had 30 days to watch the taped, that's not the right, the recorded class. You can go back and watch it. And it seemed like I had a lot of time. 30 days is a long time. Well, then I got an email saying, this is the last day you can look at it. So I did. I went back to look at it to make sure, do I remember how this works? So I'm looking forward to making more biscornus. I assume that's the plural of biscornu. Okay, First Winds of Autumn. This is Blackbird Designs. And it's going to be finished to be a big strawberry like that. It's in Blackbird Designs Winds of Autumn book. I love everything in that book. So here it is. I haven't even thought about getting it finished yet. When I do, of course, I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do for those leaves. I think it says velvet. Anyway, it's going to be a fun addition to the fall decorations. My next finish was October 31st from that same book, Blackbird Designs. Another round finish. On the cover of the book, it's finished right there, and it's finished as a, I guess it's a pin cushion. it's very short for a drum. I don't know if you'd call it a drum, but it's a round finish, and that's how I want to finish it. I dyed, this fabric was light blue, and I dyed it myself. I used black fabric paint that I diluted, put it in a jar, and stuffed the fabric in, and shook it around, and took it out, did a little rinse, and let it dry. There it is. I think it looks grayish and spooky. I'm happy with that. Okay, and then I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Prairie Schooler finishes, and you're just going to be sick of seeing Prairie Schooler stuff from me. But I did 84. No, that's 89. 13. Okay, here we go. 1984, 91. 91, yeah. I did 80, I can't even read what that number is. 98 and 89, 98 and 89. And 2013 is someplace. I don't know. I apologize for being so scattered. Anyway, I have 1.5 Prairie Schoolers to finish, and then I'll be done with that. And that's the last of my WIPs from 2022 that came into 2023 that I did not get done. Everything else I got done. So that's my finishes for 2023. And if you're still with me, I have my WIP parade. These are things that were started in 2023 that are going to carry over to 2024. And these you've seen often because, whoops, I kind of stick pretty closely to what I want to work on. I don't wander around and start too many things. Okay, you'll remember this one. I've got some marking threads to some blue there. If you see blue, it's because I'm marking so I line things up right. And we had quite a fun discussion about these two little ladies down here. Were they flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz? Did they have a beehive hairdo on a windy day? Anyway, this is Maria, Lorica, I'm not even gonna say it. This is Maria from Hands Across the Sea. I'm about 1/3 of the way done, about. I have not stitched on her yet. She's, I do the first week of the month Sal, Hands Across the Sea, first week of the month Sal. And normally that's what I stitch on, but just this week has not started off in a normal way, and I didn't start her yet. So she's number 1 WIP. She is my focus piece, and those of you who have been with me know that I have a focus piece, which is always my oldest WIP, and I give it 7 days of stitching every month, and it remains my focus piece until it is done. I started Maria on January 17th, 2023, so she's coming up on her birthday. That's not a normal thing for me to have a WIP reach a birthday, but she is a big girl, so she's not done yet. Okay, I'm gonna have to stand up here. Okay, my next WIP is Red Deer Sampler, and I just showed it to you, but I'll give you a quick little glance again, the whole thing, because I love it. This is by GigiR, and she just turned 90 this year, or no, last year. It was last year. I love that one. When I first saw this behind Carol Saltbox Stitcher's head on her Flosstube, I had never seen a deer or stag on a sampler before. I thought that was just really unique, and I loved it, and couldn't wait to get my hands on it and do it, and so I did. But, oh, here are those Prairie Schoolers. Prairie Schooler patterns I was looking forward to show you. We'll forget that. But, you know, the more you look at samplers, I mean, the stag, my goodness, that's a very common theme. Okay, my next WIP that I started, thinking it would be a good travel piece because it's on 14 count Ada. Where's the cover? This is a dimensions kit, It's called Mason Jar Lineup. It's beautiful. Those jars look, you know, there's translucent looking. Well, this is not a good travel project. Doesn't matter what stitch size you're stitching on. There are 34 different colors, hence the big clunk when they came falling out. 34 different colors. Each of them has a symbol. And then there are combinations. One thread of one color, one thread of another color, and that is a different symbol. It is a very complicated pattern to follow, and it requires concentration and not travel time. That's not a travel project. So that's something I learned this year, but it's a WIP nonetheless, so it'll come up at some point to be a focus piece. Okay, my next one is Forget Me Not. This is the Katie Strachan project that the way she took Modern Folk Embroideries Forget Me Not sampler, and she adjusted it and fit it on a box, on a wooden box, and I'm doing the same thing. If you're new to my channel, you haven't seen this, but if you've been following me, you've seen it a lot. I completed stitching the top piece, and I have initials and numbers on it. This was quite a saga because I miscut. I had nearly finished, and my first piece I had miscut, so it wasn't going to fit. I had to recut, restart. But the top is done. I'm very pleased with it. And the last video I talked about how I decided how I was going to stitch the letters and numbers with the accentuate was the thread. Turns out it's very much like Krynic or any of those metallic threads that are such a pain in the neck to stitch with. Okay, so that's Forget Me Not. My next one is Little Red Chair Sampler. I think I was at one point, I wanted to start something new, and I pulled this one out to start it. And I'm stitching it on, I think it's oaken. Let me, does it go this way? I think it's this way up. Oaken, and so that's as far as I am. And I was about this far, in fact I was this far, and one of my viewers met me at StitchCon and showed me hers that she had done on 56 count, 1/1. It was gorgeous. It was the most darling little thing. Now I wish I'd started on 56 count, but anyway, I'll do it. I'll finish this and do something else in 56 count. So Little Red Chair Sampler, and that is by the Scarlet House. Sorry. Little Red Chair Sampler, the Scarlet House. Okay, and then the next one is Strawberry Bird. This is from the Blue Flower. This is one my daughter saw when I did showed a kit parade, and she said she liked it. So it went right to the top of my list to get started, and I started it. And this, oh, that's it. You can see all of my stitching right there on that part, right there. That's all I've done. I have one bird and the pot. I love the colors. Janine McGowan has such a way of charting birds and animals and things. It's just lovely. Just lovely. Okay, the next one is Margaret Doyle. Where is she here? Margaret Doyle, Hands Across the Sea. This was an exclusive from Kitten Stitcher. Shakespeare's Peddler, I guess. I'm not sure. That confuses me. Is the correct way Shakespeare's Peddler or Kitten Stitcher? So Margaret Doyle was exclusive to her shop, and I got that from her, of course. And I also purchased the cut of fabric that was just right for that project from her. I had just a little start on it. I remember I was, on my Kindle, I was listening to Poisonwood Bible when I was stitching this one. I'm late to the game. That book's been out for a long time, but I got to it this year. Okay, that was, okay, the next one is, oh man, I'm gonna get ornery here. Come on, guys, let's stand up. Sweet Summer Come Again. This is in my stitch bag here. This is the new one that I am stitching in honor of Leanne. This is Leanne's Legacy. This is a Blackbird Designs pattern. And I'm going to also do the needle roll. I have enough fabric for that. And it's tiny. Just got that little start. This was August 24th is Leanne's birthday, so I save it for August 24th. Some people stitch something in her memory every 24th of the month. I'll stick with August 24th. I remember her birthday because my father's birthday was August 25th, so it's easy for me to remember that. And I see why I stopped stitching that day. I have a knot in my thread I have to get out. So, okay, that's Sweet Summer Come Again. And my next one is Dancer. This guy is so cute. So cute. This is from Barbara Anna. This was published in the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, winter 2020, it was like last year, where is it? 2021, winter Christmas issue. And if you don't subscribe to that magazine, you really should. Just is full of wonderful, wonderful stuff. Where is this? Okay, here it is. Oh, look at this little face. Look at that. Isn't that cute? I think I only spent a couple days, maybe 3 days. I love that. So that's Dancer. Once it gets started, it'll eventually become a focus piece if it doesn't get finished before that. So this will get done. Dancer, and then we're back to Prairie Schooler Santas. I have the 1.5 that I have to get done. I have it's this one. Half of this guy done. That I showed you that part. Couldn't remember the year. So I have half of that done. And the 2021, I need to do the whole thing. Then I will be done with Prairie Schooler Santas as far as I'm concerned, unless the boys ask for a specific something. So, okay, so those two are my WIPs that are carrying over from the previous year. So that's unusual. But I hadn't actually started stitching these. I just lumped them all together. They were in one project bag. And I always have one on the go. So I just counted them all as WIPs, even though they really weren't. I didn't actually have needle and thread working on them. And then the last one is Ann Borrett, and I just showed you her. Of course, that was my New Year's Day start. So there she is. She's in the mix now. Okay, plans. I'm kind of continuing my same way I do my plans, even though I think I had kind of hemmed myself in this year because I chose such large projects each time instead of trying to get one that fits your category that's a little smaller, so you're not, anyway. So I will continue with Focus Piece. That has been very successful for me. I get my stuff done. They're not laying around for years because they stay in the mix. So my Focus Piece, of course, I just said, I stitch 7 days a month on it. It remains my Focus Piece until it is done. It's always my oldest WIP. That's the way I like to do it. I will have a red sampler on the go. I usually give 3 days a month to a red sampler. Maria now was my red sampler. She's now my Focus Piece, so she's getting 7 days, but she used to get 3 days, which was the slow start on that one. I do I have a commitment to do a stitch along with Fat Quarter Shop starting in March, so I need to save room in my plans for that. I want to work on the smalls that are in the Words of Wisdom box from Hands Across the Sea, and and more of those small bird pillows like the Hummingbird sampler. I have quite a few patterns for, you know, small pillows that have birds on them, and I would like to get those done too. And I need to save some room though to do other things. So whatever days of the month are left when I've laid out my plan, it'll be Stitcher's choice. So if I'm feeling like, oh, I've got to get that done, or I'm itching to start this thing, or I have to get a salve worked on or something, I will do that. Where's my plan for so far? So far for this month, I do not like the big books back. Oops, I have my list here. This is where I list my goals for the month, and I've already checked off that I had a New Year's Day start with Borrett. But my focus piece, red sampler, and Forget Me Not, those are in there definitely, and when I get through those, I'll see how I want to divide out my time on a small bird or a small from the Words of Wisdom box, or something else I just feel like starting. Maybe it's one of these I want to get back to, like Little Red Chair Sampler I haven't touched for a while, or Margaret Doyle. So that's how I'm going to work my stitching plan. I have retreat plans for the coming year. I have a change in plans. I had announced to you, I think in October, that I had been, I got a place in StitchCon 2024, Weekend A, and I did. But I've then subsequently found an opportunity to go to a retreat with Nicola Parkman. And so I just can't really do both. So I gave up my seat in Weekend A and StitchCon. So somebody on the waiting list got a seat. Congratulations. So the Queen City Sampler Guild in Cincinnati is hosting Nicola Parkman, and she's going to be teaching specialty stitches with the project that she's having us do, and I got in. I just got their newsletter a couple days ago maybe, and they said they had 100 people signed up and they were capping it at 105. So I don't know if there are any more spots available, but if Cincinnati is doable for you and you're interested, it's called Queen City Sampler Guild, and it's in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, you know, maybe you can get a spot if you're interested in that. So that's my plan so far. You know, but life throws curveballs, you never know. My next Flosstube will be January 19th, 2024. And if you're only interested in cross stitch, that's it. I'm going to move on to the quilts. But if you want to stick around and get a closer look at the quilts, hang on. Now, I have tons of stuff here to get out of the way. Okay, let me see. Don't get sick now when I move the camera. Okay, now, maybe I can even move the table out of the way so I can back up. Sorry. This is pretty ugly. I need a professional videographer to come in. Okay, this quilt is called, let me get a nice longer view of it, Serendipity. The designer is Judy Madsen. I've shown you other things I've done using Judy Madsen's quilting design system, not a system, but kind of the way she likes to make secondary designs and so forth. This was not a kit, and I cannot lay my hands on the pattern. I thought it was a booklet, and I don't find it with my booklets. I don't find it in the books. I have books of hers, and I find the books, but I don't find this pattern. So it's called Serendipity. I love the blocks of color, and that just really allows the quilting to shine. So let me take a look. She is an intricate quilter. Look at that border. That was fun. I don't know how she comes up with all these ideas. Now, you've seen this much. That's one of my favorites, the wishbone or figure eight. I don't even know what this might be called, but you can see she's kind of based it on like the double curve that I do around squares often, but then put a petal in it, and it just is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. That goes all the way around the outer border of this quilt. Then the inner border is the wishbone. This is all very familiar stuff. I did this quilt in 2017. Did I tell you this is called Serendipity? If not, I just told you. So I was relatively early in my quilting career, so this was the best I could do at that time. I look at it now and go, ooh, I could do that better. But a lot of familiar things, the double curve or triple curve and the squares set on diagonal, and the L's and E's going around the outside. Lots of straight line. Am I pointing at what you're seeing? I can't tell. Yeah, lots of straight line angles. It makes it very interesting. Again, this little flower here. And this block on a half of a block, and then you have the half star. And it's tons of pebbling. And when you do pebbling, it allows the other unquilted areas to really pop out and be accentuated. Now, when you do pebbling, I want you to see how many stitches there are in this. So you do, whoops, now, come on, aim it right, okay. So you do a circle, and then you go around, and then you do another other way, and then another other way, and then fill in a little spot, and then so you're going around and 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 around. So think about if you make a mistake in that, how much ripping out you have to do. Think of it in cross stitch. We don't even like it in cross stitch, but this, I mean, you're going over it, and they're tiny little stitches. And I'll tell you a story in a minute, but I want to show you more of the quilt overall. Mm-hmm. So this diagonal repeats the star, but it looks different when it's on that diagonal. And then she fills in with just tiny, I say she, I did it, but it was her design, tiny filler. And when you have really dense quilting next to less dense, it makes this pop out. And it's just, I love the way she does this stuff. Okay, here's this. If you're familiar with quilts, this is like log cabin, you know, as if it was strip pieced, and these are log cabins. Okay, when I would get to a section of this, I was never able to figure out a path where I didn't leave something out. You know, in quilting, you want to start and stop as few times as possible. One thing, it's time, but it also makes mess of thread. You know, you don't want to go over things any more than you have to. You want to do it once. And I could never do it where I could get the whole design quilted and go, oh, but look, I missed those squares or something. That was hard for me. And she had, for these, she had little templates. She had you do cardboard template and lay it on, and then use the water marker, you know, water erasable marker. I've shown those before, to outline the shape, and then you do pebbling to fill in the rest. So there's that design. There's this design. And again, these were cardboard templates that you laid on for these whirly things, and then outlined them with the water marker and erased it. Now let me show you the story here. On this one up here, for some stupid reason, I didn't mark all of my blue marks. There was a part over here, I think it was over here, I know it was over here, definitely, it could have been the whole thing. No, it was like, oh, on this side, I didn't have my blue marks, so I took my template off and started quilting, and quilted and quilted and quilted. And, you know, I'm doing pebbles, pebble, 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 pebble. I didn't have this outlined. I pebbled over this whole area. When I realized that, I was just sick. How am I gonna tear that out and not rip the fabric? How am I stopped. I mean, I stopped on this quilt. and I left it on the machine. I walked past it almost every day for 2 months. I just couldn't touch it. I was so angry with myself. Really messed up. So, and granddaughter was here one time and was asking about the quilt, and I said, well, I had a big mistake on that. I haven't worked on that. Well, what's your big mistake? And I showed her. And then I felt guilty. Well, that's setting a great example. I make a mistake, and so I'm just gonna leave it sitting there. That's awful. So I started making myself spend like an hour. Just 1 hour, take out as many of those stitches as you can, and then that's it. And then come back another day and do an hour. Do an hour. I don't remember how many hours it took me, but I got them out. But I can just, I don't know if you can see it. You can just faintly see the shadow for the, the needle had gone in before. Anyway, that's my story of Serendipity Quilt. Judy Madsen, Serendipity. I love the graphic look of it. There it is. Okay, so that's the end of my Flosstube for today. Again, like I say, I'll be, why don't I not show it up my nose? I'll be back in a couple of weeks. So my next Flosstube will be January 19th. I don't think I'll be here. Maybe I'll be here. Maybe I'll be back in Florida. I don't know. We're in flux right now. So, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have happy stitching and post your 12 and 12 and your 24 and 24. I want to see what everybody's doing. That is a lot of fun. I'm way behind on Flosstubes, but keep making those Flosstube videos. Thanks. See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.